Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host Scotty McCoy, and I have a guest on the phone. He is the host of multiple podcasts, which we'll get into a little later. He also played the Radio Newscaster in Samhain, my first full feature film. His name is Anthony Blackwell. Hello, Anthony. How you doing?
Hey man, what's going on?
Not much. I'm doing great. I'm excited to do this interview. I've been a guest on your show quite a number of times, so I'm excited to finally have you on my show.
Yeah, it's nice when you get the invite to go on other people's stuff. It's fun not playing host sometimes.
Exactly. So the first couple of questions are regarding Samhain, and then I go into your podcast. So the first question I got for you is a question that we talked about on your show once. Can you tell the listeners how you first got into being part of Samhain back when it was going to be a web series?
Oh man, so I think at the time I was hanging out with these Yags a lot. Scott Yaglinski, who plays one of the nerds, and we were supposed to hang out or do something. It was I was hanging out with Scott and Ben. And they said, "Oh, we're having a meeting tonight." And I was like, "A meeting for what?" And they said, "Oh, we're doing this movie." And I was like, "Oh." And I think at the time I was with Nikolai, and I was like, "Well, Nikolai knows how to film and do all that stuff." And I was like, "Do you want some input, or do you want to hear you want us to come check it out?" Or something? I think it's something like that. It's been a while. So we came up and we hung out for the meeting, and we heard the script and stuff, and kind of all took off from there.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like I had all these contracts and everything, and you're like, I'm not gonna steal your idea, but if I have to sign it, it's like signing your life away. Everybody's signing their souls to me.
Yeah.
So can you tell the listeners about why you took a smaller role into Samhain? Because originally you were supposed to play Benji, but then
Yeah.
you got the smaller role in the when it became a full feature. So how did that come about, and why did you decide to take a smaller role when you couldn't do the larger one?
So when this first came out, when we first hung out and were doing stuff, I wasn't really into the podcasting world. I think at the time still I had my long hair, very long beard. I was a completely different human. And then I always wanted to kind of do something for myself. And when Stalin kind of fell through, I was like, all right, well, I need to figure something out here. And I always kind of had the idea of doing podcasting because I've been always very influenced by a lot of different people like Kevin Smith and Joe Rogan, Howard Stern. So I always kind of enjoyed talking to people and having those honest, open conversations. Everything kind of fell through, and some time happened, and I went and got all my equipment. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna dive headfirst into this. So I started doing the podcast. And when I'm into something, I go 100%, and I go hard as I possibly can. So one podcast turned into 6, and here we are now. So when the film kind of picked back up after we hit some rocky patches, and it kind of was shut down for a minute, you approached me again to do it, and I was like, man, I can't dedicate that time because I during the podcast I kind of filmed. I fielded such a team that I felt like I was letting them down if I took time away or if I wasn't 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to take a back seat and do something a little different.
Awesome. So can you tell us what each of your podcasts are about and where they can be listened to by those listening to this episode of Slasher Scotty?
Yeah, all right. Well, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the first podcast is Interviews with Everyday People. That is kind of inspired by a little bit of the Howard and Joe Rogan experience, but on a local level. So I want to talk to local people in our area who have gone through some extraordinary things. And it kind of turned in from that because we do live in an area where people are very judgy, but I feel if people just listen to each other's stories and they have a different understanding for what other people go through. That kind of morphed into I've been interviewing a lot of just local businesses or bands or people who have a project going on. I am open to any conversation now, so you don't always have to come and spill your heart or tell me about a project. We can just hang out and talk. So it's kind of formed its own little life. It's more or less like a conversation talk show than anything. But you were actually my very first guest on Interviews with Everyday People. We talked about your father and some of the stuff that you and your family went through.
Yep.
I mean, you can go back and listen to it, but just trust me, the audio has changed and the quality has changed tremendously since then. I think that's one of the coolest things about the show is how much it's grown and changed in such a short period of time.
Exactly.
Coming up on 2 years, and it's I'm actually coming up on my 90th interview today. So it's been crazy. It's been a crazy journey. The next show is Tornado Tag Podcast. We talk about professional wrestling, everything from the indie scene to what you see on TV, and everything in between. We do a little bit of old school history of wrestling during the show, so we have a little bit for everybody. That one's been cool because we went from just talking in the kitchen to getting invited to meet people and go to actual shows and set up and do stuff at the independent shows. I got to hang out with some really amazing local talent, and then also meet some of the guys I've been watching since I'm a kid. So that's been fun. Actually, real quick, the Interviews with Dirty People has put me in a lot of cool things. The Majestic Theater, I'm actually the first ever podcast to set up on their stage and do an interview from their stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we
That's
did
really cool.
a thing with them. Which is pretty cool. So it's like going to locations and setting up and filming has been really, really interesting, and I never expected that at all.
Right.
Not Cool in High School is our pop culture podcast, comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, that whole fun stuff. Then we have Bros in the Warpath is our Washington football team, named to be announced at a later date and time. Who knows? A podcast based on that during the NFL season. Banging Beers, we review local craft beers. We've gone to locations with breweries and met other beer podcasts, so that's been really fun.
Awesome.
Truth Behind Illusion is our supernatural paranormal spooky podcast. I think I'm missing one, but I can't think off the top of my head right now. I think I said all 6.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them on there, but it's all on the same network called the IWEP network. You can find us pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. We're on YouTube. There's a video and an audio aspect to it. It's a good time.
Awesome.
We used to do live streaming, but we've been having issues with the live stream, so now we're just going to record it and put it.
So the last question I do got for you, though, is so I know you have a social media and a merchandising site. So where can listeners find you and support you by purchasing your merch, finding you on social media, and listening to your podcasts?
Yeah. So if you search you don't have to write but IWEP Network.
Yep.
On any social media, you'll find the main account.
Okay.
And then every other show that I kind of said has its own little branch, but they're not. If once you find one, it's not hard to find the others.
Right.
You can add me personally on Anthony Blackwell on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's a lot, but we have social media for every page: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and then anywhere you can listen to podcasts or music, you can find us at the IWEP Network as well.
Awesome. And what about any of your merchandising? Do you want to
that's all in there. So any of those pages you go to, if you go to the About section or you check the link in the bio,
good.
There's a link tree.
Okay.
And that link tree will get you to every single location that the merch is and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Right now, I'm not sure when you're airing this, but right now, some of the merchandise for each show is not up right now.
Okay.
I went and redid the logos and resized them and made them a little more crisp, so when they hit the merchandise pages, they look a lot better.
Okay.
Like for an example, you use the same site I use.
Yeah.
My logo size wasn't fit for like banners.
Yeah.
So you can only stretch it so far before you lose quality.
Mm-hmm.
So it was still set to a high quality, but I wanted it to take up more of the banner. So I went and learned how to do more with logos and stuff. So I learned how to resize them and digitize them better.
Yeah.
And now I went and redid all my logos, and just waiting for the website to let me add more, because you're only allowed to do so many listings per time.
Awesome.
Now every time I try to load something, I keep getting errors. So there's a little bit of a hiccup there.
Yeah, this right after I finish recording this, I'll watch it through and everything, kind of listen to see how the audio kind of sounds and see if everything is good. But right after that, I'll be uploading it, and it'll probably be on iTunes within 24 hours or so.
Nice.
So it should be on by tomorrow morning. But I thank you for your time, Tony.
Not a problem, man.
Awesome. So before I let you go, I do want to plug Samhain because this is a week of Samhain podcast part 2 with some of the guests. Tomorrow I'll be having Catherine Fried herself, Brenda Soklebin on. I do want to let everybody know that that Samhain will be available in the Majestic Theater on October 16th, 17th, 30th, and 31st. There's 2 Fridays and 2 Saturdays in there. That'll be in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. It'll also be in Hazleton at the Cinema Draft House, and that'll be on October 19th. And then also we will be on Amazon Prime to stream come October 23rd, and also you could buy our DVDs on October 23rd on Amazon. And then lastly, we will be at the Creature Feature in Newville, Pennsylvania. That'll be October 17th. Some of the cast and crew will be there, and some of the others will be at the Majestic as well the same day. And then on September 26th, I don't know the full details, so stay tuned to our Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/gravestonefilms, and we'll be announcing more details. But we will be available in Frackville, Pennsylvania at some type of vendor event Amanda set up. She's going to get me more information, so it'll be on that page, and we'll be selling some merchandise there as well. So thank you again, Tony. Yes, go ahead.
Did my little cameo at the end, my little marble thing where I made it,
yep.
my little whip crack, did it get any laughs in the theater?
It got a lot of laughs, actually. I think some people missed the last part you said because they were laughing at the first part of it, where you did the little 2-piece. And it worked out perfectly because we included static, and then it said please, and then it said stay tuned or whatever, or like keep enjoy the music. You said enjoy the music, and then it went the static and the music continued playing. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So.
It was all improv too.
Yep.
Because you kind of told me what you wanted.
Yep.
And I was like, wouldn't this work? I think like a lot of the movie too. Like we sat down and talked. I know we talked about this a little on my podcast, but it was
yep.
like what it was and then what it turned into was 2 different things.
Yep.
That was the cool thing about working with you, Scotty.
Yep.
Is that you were open to listen to people's ideas. And
yes.
You were able to take people's ideas that were good and that were not good and pick and choose which ones work better, you know?
Right, so I'm guessing that's a no on the Ben Clown bodysuit.
Oh my god, Ben Clown bodysuit, turning him into Michael Myers and a ghost and a wizard and the ghost of Colonel Mustard, or I don't know, there was every... Oh my goodness, terrible.
That was pretty funny though. When I showed you that bodysuit, I don't know if your jaw hit the floor or if your eyes burned out of your head.
I said no chance. I probably came off as such a jerk at some of those meetings because they're like, "What about this idea?" And everyone's like, "Okay," because they obviously they wanted you to have your
right
input on the movie, and I was like, "Scotty, I'm gonna be honest, it's terrible."
And I'm glad you did, because if you didn't do that, we would have had those bad plans in this movie or future films, and we probably wouldn't be getting where we're at now.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is, I kept telling Ben, I was like, "Ben, I love you to death, but I just don't see you as. I mean, I definitely think Ben can murder people.
Right.
I just don't see him as a slasher killer. I think he's one of those types that you like go to his house and he hits you over the head with a candlestick and you're in his basement.
Right.
Like Buffalo Bill.
Right.
But, I remember putting the mask on, and at the time I had the long hair and the beard, and I kind of like everyone kind of looked at it like that is the look, and then
yep.
kind of turning to be Brett with
yep.
long hair and a beard, and I was like. Yeah.
If you haven't seen Brett in costume, you wait for it. And I'll give you that's not really a spoiler. I can't say too much because it's not released, but there's a couple scenes in there that are jump scares. The one scene where like they knew Brett was gonna come out, but they didn't know it was gonna be in this impact, and the whole theater jumped back. It was. I knew it was coming because I just knew it was coming. Like we had a rap party at my place with a couple of the cast, and I think one of them were scared or whatever. And I knew that scene was going to be the perfect jump scare. And I looked around the theater during that scene, and I seen the whole theater jump. And like people behind me were like, "Damn you, Amanda! You know I don't like clowns."
Well, you said that you're doing on the 16th. You're gonna have a lot of people there, right?
A lot of the cast are gonna be there. No, Brett's gonna be there in costume. And then I'm gonna be there. And Shane Opolsky should be there. Who else is gonna be there? Kelly and Sarah might be there.
Why don't you do a little mini Q&A that night if it's the opening night of your movie at the Majestic?
That's true. We could do that. That's actually not a bad idea. I will definitely. I'll message the Majestic after I get off with you, and I will talk to them about that. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, because you're gonna have. I mean, I'll be there the 16th.
Yeah.
And like I said, we can. If if you have most of your cast member going to be there that night, you could do like a mini Q&A where
Yeah.
people can see it, and after it's over, they can ask questions.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I should have done that at the premiere, but the premiere was really hectic to begin with, so that probably wasn't the best place. But
I think doing it the second time around for the Majestic, because you're less stressed and you've already kind of got it out of your system the first time.
Yeah, that's true. And I know that there's gonna be haters for it, because there's haters for everything. I mean, people hated Titanic, and that was a big blockbuster hit, and people hated Friday the 13th and Halloween, and look at those cult followings. So I mean, I know, one thing my agent always told me was, do not look at the comments on anything you do, whether it's books, whether it's movies, whatever. Do not look at the comments, because you're gonna want to respond, and when you respond, that makes you look even worse.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, not everyone probably is a fan of my podcast, but like I said, man, I don't make it for everybody. I make it for me. And if people enjoy it, then it works for me.
Exactly, and I'm excited for everybody to see Samhain, A Festival to Die For. One thing I will plug is we will need at least 100 extras. We have a big scene that is going to require a ton of extras in costume. So obviously, with that tagline, "A festival to die for," obviously, there's going to be a festival of some sort happening. So definitely would like to have plug that. Like, obviously, you can like our fan pages, facebook.com/gravestonefilms, twitter.com/gravestonefilms, Instagram, we're Gravestone Films Prod on there. So come and give us a follow. And thank you, Tony, again for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for making the time for us.
Always, man, always.
All right. You have a good rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Yep, bye.